one, a violent vertical edge setter.
I see some ass on the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. This is weird. Get worse than that side.
Yes, here we are again, everybody. I am GreenBean. This is the After Hours Jets Fest. I'm going to switch my lights to a more relaxed color. Let's go with this. Is that more relaxed? Nope. Green's pretty good. I don't know. Is that blue? I'm going to stay with the green. All right, we're staying with the green tonight. How you doing, everybody? We are here. I swore to my wife there was not going to be an After Hours Jets Fest tonight. I'm just too tired, I said. I'm just too tired. And here we are. So welcome to the big lie. That is me. All right, let's see who's here. Let's see who climbed over from Jets Talk 24/7 to the GreenBean Show for this late night chit chat. Jay-Z Jets fan coming in first. Right on, man. Well, thank you. You tend to be first often, which is impressive, man. Well done. Hi, Kung Fu. Always look forward to the Tuesday night. These are good, right? These are fun. Again, we don't do it every week, but we've been doing it more and more. But I think it's fun because it's different, right? There's no pretension, There's just nothing. Let's just talk, chit chat. We go anywhere we want it to go. Obviously, we're centered around the New York Jets and all the happenings with the New York Jets, but it goes all over the place. Harry W checking in. Everybody, it was Harry's birthday yesterday. So just one more, squeeze the lemon, Harry. One more little drop. Everybody give Harry a fire symbol in the chat to wish Harry a happy birthday. And we can show him a little bit more love. Harry sent me a photograph he sent it to the Beanbagger Discord, actually, of his cupcake. He had a cannoli cupcake. Impressive, Harry. Well done. Whoever got you that, was it? I forget who you said bought it for you. But looked beautiful, looked delicious. I wanted, 8 of them. That's what I wanted. Hennessy is here. This will be the 15-minute stream. That's right. This is going to be only 30 minutes. 30 minutes, That's how it goes. Finger Lakes is here. Hank is here. Keep the party going. Hey, Dom C's here. Well, looky here. You guys are literally the best. I know. Aren't they great, man? Dom can never get enough GreenBean. Well, that's nice to hear, Dom. I can't get enough of you, buddy. I really can't. What a day today, man. I had a long day. Dom, I finally got the friggin' article complete. As you guys may or may not know, I write articles about theme parks for this crazy adventure page. So I do that. I write for them every month. And I'm supposed to do anywhere between 5,000 and 6,000 words, which is a daunting task. And you know what, Dom? Like we talk about all the time, Dom and I have a similar disease where we can't shut up, right? We just keep talking. I do the same thing on paper. So I'm supposed to max out at 6,000. Like that's a lot. It's a lot. The original article was 2,500. I doubled it. And then I literally handed in 8,112 words today. This morning, I finally got to send it over. 8,112 words. What's wrong with me? Anyway, this is good. Snowball's here. King Loki's here. Finger Lakes. Yeah, this is good. Slim is here. You guys are the best. So let's drop it down. Youthphoria. I see Michael Murphy's here. Three Amigos and Hawk and Wild Wave. You guys are the best. Look at all those fire symbols, man. Oh, I love it. That's the best. Farouk is here. Look at that. Oh, guys, happy birthday to Harry. He's legit, dude. He's one of the OGs, as we call it now, Harry. So, all right. So what's the thing that we want to talk about first? What is the thing? So we talked about a lot of Joe Douglas press conference already, but maybe we pull something out of there and we talk about exactly in some more detail, the one element, the one or two aspects of the press conference that we thought were the most telling or interesting. And I'll start, considering it's me, it's my show. I'll start, huh? How's that sound? Matthias Simon is here. David D is here. Look at you guys. Squirmy's here. Awesome, awesome, awesome. The thing that I liked the best, the one piece of actual news that I thought really took place. Braden's here. What's up, Braden from New Zealand? I love you. Kenobi's here. Salty Nuts. Y2K's in the house. The one piece of actual news that I sucked out of that press conference was the manner in which he discussed the potential Quinnen Williams extension. Okay. Now, as we know, Quinnen Williams has another year on his contract. So it actually would make a whole bunch of sense just to put it on the back burner. Next year, we're expected to have significantly more cap room. And then that's without the potential explosion in cap expansion, right? That's without that. We're supposed to have some more room. This is a particularly tight year. So why would we jump the gun and accelerate this process and extend him when we don't need to? Well, it comes down to this. Quinnen Williams, he's going into his 5th year option, which we did exercise. As you guys know, he was our first round pick, the last first round pick of the previous regime, led by one Michael McCagnon. He was the last first round pick of Mike McCagnon. He was the 3rd overall pick, and he's been a very, very good player for us. If you look over his statistics, he's gotten better every single year, just slow, steady improvement. And this year, he was nothing short of elite. All right. He was elite. Now, he has expressed that where the play is, where I am as a player, warrants me making more money and maybe some more stability, security than the 1 year left on my contract provides. I've been quiet. I've been good. I've never caused a single issue outside of bringing guns into the airport, of course, but that was a misunderstanding. He's been just the epitome of positive player on the Jets. Like, you love him. He's a leader. He's strong. He's supportive. All the things you like. He's saying, where we are right now, I am at a level in my play and in my career, having only 1 year left. It's a little scary to play on, right? I don't want to do that. It's less money than I should make, okay, with where I am. I'm elite now. I'm an all-pro. And he's saying to the team, I would appreciate it if we could jump this, kind of put this 5th year on the back burner, do my extension now. And so all things, I feel better about where I'm going. I know that I'm protected, all those kinds of things. And the team would be wise to meet him there, because what happens if we don't? And look, we have every right not to. You could say, dude, shut up, sit down, play on your 5th year option, and mid-year we'll talk about it. Well, what happens is something called a holdout. That's what happens. So Quinnen Williams holds out, and then it takes a very positive situation with a very positive and impactful player, and it makes it into a negative. It flips it over, and it makes it into this contentious little battle that's going on that you just don't need to get into. Now, you can get creative with the contracts, and you can make this year, the cap hit be, less than in future years. Now, again, I'm no cap guy, but at the same time, I'm aware of cap guys out there and accountants and all these gurus. They can absolutely do it. You can spread it out over, give them a 5-year contract extension, and take the bonus money and prorate it across the contract and everything. There's ways to do it. They have an opportunity here to take this situation and use it to show all the other young players on the team. We have a predominantly young team with a large, some of them being our own draft picks. We're going to show them, if you do things the right way, following the Quinnen Williams method, you do it that way and you get rewarded. The New York Jets take care of our own, and that's the way that it looks. This is an opportunity to just, I mean, it's got such huge implications for the message, the optics. And Joe Douglas, the way that he expressed how that's moving along was very different than he usually carries himself when discussing these types of scenarios. Like, well, again, Marcus May, we love Marcus. We're gonna blah 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 blah. Jamal Adams. Well, the plan is for Jamal to be a Jet for life. Sam Darnold's our quarterback. Blah blah blah. You know, all the things we've seen it a bunch of times. We've never seen Joe Douglas have the demeanor that he's had this time, which is, we feel really good about where we are. We've had a couple of really productive conversations with Nicole, I think was her name, which is Quinnen Williams' agent. All right. So he had a different air about him. And for me, who watches, you guys know we're different. We're not casuals, right? We're looking. I keep hitting. Why is that? Why am I hitting that so much today? That's new. Like, my elbow is hitting my board like 3 times. Since that's weird. I never happened once before. I'm particularly swingy tonight. I don't know. So anyway, there's a positive air about it that is different, which to me speaks louder than any words Joe Douglas could put out there, outside of, we just signed Quinnen Williams to an extension. You know what I mean? Those kinds of words are different. But look, like Wild Wave, I want you to know, I do agree with you. I do. You signed a contract, you know, play out the contract. If you do better than okay. What if you do worse? You know, that's the whole thing, right? Like when they sign a contract, $10 million a year for 3 years, then they're the best guy in the league, and they're like, oh, that's worth $30 million a year. I want more. It's like, well, what happens if you blew your knee out and we didn't get anything from you? Do I get less? No. So I'm always a fan of like, hey, you signed an agreement, uphold the agreement, right? I'm a big fan. I'm a big believer in that. At the same time, when it's presented in such a way that you're expressing to your employer, hey, I played out, 3 or 4/5 of the contract. I would like more security. The original contract was my rookie contract. It's totally, it's not meeting the average pay for a player of my caliber. I'm among the elites in the league, arguably the best in the AFC, right? He's up there in those discussions. And I'm asking my employer to consider moving forward with my extension. You're asking for a raise. You know what I mean? And I think that it's a good opportunity to provide that and let people know the way that you feel about them, and then subsequently all the other players. Like, look, at some point, we're going to have, obviously Denzel Mims and Mekhi Becton. Hopefully they can come back and do something with the new offensive regime. I happen to believe they can. But aside from them, you're going to have at some point, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, they're all gonna, Elijah Moore, assuming that he can do something, AVT. You're gonna have all these guys that are gonna be up for contracts. Some of them are gonna be guys that you feel are pivotal pillars of the organization. Potentially all pro. Like, in my opinion, AVT was on an all pro trajectory this year, right? That's my opinion. Now, we can't say for sure, of course, but it certainly looked like that. So you have him. Garrett Wilson won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Sauce, Defensive Rookie of the Year. Before Brees went down, he was looked at as really the leading candidate for Offensive Rookie of the Year. So there could have been a very realistic scenario, guys, where the two top candidates were Jets. Think about that. So you have all these guys. We're talking about potential all-stars, all-pros, guys that you definitely need and want to keep around, the face of the organization. Quinnen, Garrett, Sauce, all these guys. If you send the message like, hey, we work with you, you do it the right way, we take care of you. If you're a shithead like Marcus May, the drunk driving, or Jamal, we get rid of you, and or we just don't give you what you want. You know what I mean? So you send that message, and that goes a long way to helping continue to create the environment that you want, which is what Joe Douglas said in his first initial press conference. My goal is to build the best environment in all of sports. That's what he said. The best environment in sports. Who was the last Jet player? Joe S., thank you, buddy. Who was the last Jet player to receive a second contract? Well, John Franklin Myers was extended. Now, we didn't give him his initial contract because he was drafted by the Rams, I think it was. But yeah, so I would say JFM's that guy. And then before we did give Jordan Jenkins a second. Nathan Shepard got a 1 year, but these are 1 year deals. John Franklin Myers is really the only guy so far that Joe Douglas has given a multi-year extension, like a legit extension. Nathan Shepard, we just kept him for another year. Jordan Jenkins, we just kept him for another year. Who else? I'd have to look. Let me see here. New York Jets roster here. Let's take a look here. Let me see. Hold on. I'll do it with you. Let's just kind of go through off memory here. Just see if there's any on this team. Can you guys see this? Yeah. So, okay. All these guys. Berrios is one. So Berrios got an extension, 2-year extension, right? Right, Joe? So we got Shepard with a 1 year, JFM with a 4 year, and Berrios with a 2 year. Michael Carter, Irvin Charles, Michael Clemens, Tyler Conklin, Vinny Curry, Ashton Davis, Corey Davis, LDT, Feeney, Flacky. There he is, JFM. Sauce, Bryce, Justin Hardy, Thomas Hennessy is a guy we've kept around for a long time. Our long snapper, Bryce Huff. He should be getting one. Jermaine Johnson, Ty Johnson, Zonovan Knight, Carl Lawson, Isaiah Mack, Mann, McGovern, Mims, Moore, Mosley, Nazrul Dean, Cedric Obuye, Hanky. The parents really missed an opportunity there. Just name him Hanky. I mean, what is this? Will Park, Sheldon Rankins, DJ Reed. These are all guys that we brought in for agency. James Robinson, Ruckert, Nate. So there he is. Nathan Shepard, we gave a 1 year contract. Jamie and Sherwood, Eric Smith, Solly, Lakin, CJ Uzoma, Mike White, Jordan Whitehead, Quincy Williams, Quinnen Williams. So you got the opportunity with Quinnen, Garrett Wilson, Zach, Kenny, and Greg Zuerlein. Dude, Joe, it's slim pickings, man, as far as who we've given second contracts to. But this is the interesting thing. Joe Douglas kind of gets thrown into this mess. Like, the Jets, all their first-round picks, they trade everybody, they don't keep anybody. Joe Douglas came in here, and the team has been built in just the worst way possible. For years, for a decade. Just terrible construction, both contractually and talent-wise. And that goes all the way to the medical staff, the training staff. Like, just everything was terrible here. So Joe Douglas has to look at this team, and he looks at Leo and Sammy and Jamal and all these guys, Avery Williamson. And he says, you know what? These guys are not going to be my players. They're not going to be guys that I think should be pillars of this organization. Quite frankly, I don't think they're all that good. Now, he gave Sam a year, right? He gave him every opportunity to succeed, or at least look like he could succeed. But once he identified it, he comes in and he takes those previous first-round picks. Now, you got Jamal, you got Sam, you got Leo. Those are 3 first-round picks, and Darren Lee that Adam Gase just traded for his 6 because he's an idiot, right? You could have definitely gotten more for Darren Lee. At the time, he was one of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. Joe Douglas could have taken Darren Lee and gotten a 4th or 3rd I'm telling you, or made a 7th into a 3rd or something like that, you know? But Adam Gase just wanted to stick it up Mike McCagnon's rear end on the way out, so he took his first-round pick and threw him away for a 6th. But no matter how you slice it, Joe Douglas came in, and the last 4 first-round picks, well, there was only Quinnen. That's the only one that wasn't traded. So when you look at it, it looks like the Jets never take care of their own. Joe Douglas, he didn't have his own yet. He's looking at the previous regime's mistakes, and he's saying, I have an opportunity right now to create a scenario where I have more resources at my disposal. If I wait and let me see if Jamal can be the guy, let me see how Sammy. No, Jamal Adams' value was at the peak. It's never going to be more valuable than he was at that moment. Never. Jamal Adams could still have great years and everything, but he was a young player. He was going into his 4th year. He was a 2-time All-Pro. That's maximum value for Jamal Adams. Joe Douglas said, I'm trading him. Sam Darnold, he got 3 picks for. Jamal Adams, he got 2 picks and then changed the 4th into a 3rd. So he got 2 picks, bumped a pick up around, and he got a safety, Bradley McDougal. Then he takes, this was first, but he took Leo Williams and got a 3rd and a 5th. He takes Avery Williamson and he gets a 5th. He takes Chris Herndon, a 4th-round pick, and he makes a 6th into a 4th for Chris Herndon, who sucked ass, right? So he looks at all this stuff. Now, this is really, Joe, this is the comeback. This is the come around we're looking at right now. Joe Douglas is being presented with really the first wave of guys that are worth giving extensions to. Really, significant extensions. It's now Quinnen is really the first guy, even though JFM did receive one, and again, Berrios is a legit extension too. It's short, but it's not just a 1-year bumper. It's 2 years. So he's got Berrios and he's got JFM. Other than that, they're on the lower side. Quinnen Williams is the first legit star that Joe Douglas has to consider whether or not he wants to extend. It's crazy. We're finally here. You know what I mean? Berrios. Yeah, so Nick, everybody's saying Berrios. Rusty Spooner talking about JFM should not be the edge. I could not agree more. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. The thing is, I think, Rusty, what they look at, in my opinion, what they're really looking at is that Bryce Huff, for all of his just intense impact and speed rushing and all, so good. We don't know yet, but I think they look at him as a situational pass rusher who's, could be a liability in run, on running downs. Jermaine Johnson, he's still kind of earning his stripes here. Carl Lawson's on the other side, right? You got Michael Clemens. He's a 4th-round rookie. So they have all these guys, but nobody's really built for that, and trustworthy enough to be on the end. I'm 100% with you. And my hope is that it's Jermaine Johnson's job. I mean, let's say we can't negotiate Carl Lawson down. They're not paying him $15 million this year. They're just not, especially when they can cut him and be literally just about scot-free. Get all $15 million back. I think they'll try to renegotiate him down to 10 or something like that. And so let's say hypothetically they keep Carl Lawson. So you got Carl Lawson on one side. It's my opinion that Jermaine Johnson should be the starter on the other edge, like that on the other edge, Rusty. So that's what I think. And then you got Bryce Huff coming in, and situationally, whatever. But here's the other scenario. Let's say Carl Lawson cannot be retained. It is my hope, my sincere hope, that Jermaine Johnson is a full-time starter on one side and Bryce Huff can prove to be a full-time starter on the other side. Michael Clemens is a guy that can come in and spell them, but he can also play defensive tackle. The inside should be Quinnen Williams and JFM. But if they go out and grab a big, burly defensive tackle in the draft, while he might not start, depending on, his round and pedigree and all those kinds of things, he's going to be spelling. But the thing is, Rusty, if they bring in a Siaki Ika type, a Keandre Coburn, my boy, 350-pound type of a guy, and he's starting next to Quinnen on running downs, what that does is it pushes JFM on the outside. I'm with you, though, but that's what it does. JFM does not seal the edge quite as well as some of the other guys we have. Everybody wants JFM to the inside. The good news is that he has had impact out there, too. He has not been bad. He just hasn't been great. And I think he does a better job from the inside on passing downs in particular. JFM is slippery in there. Rob says the Jamal Adams trade basically saved our franchise. Do you remember, Rob, how mad I would say at least half of Jetnation was? At least half. It's my belief that more were upset because we didn't have any players at the time. Like, we didn't really have any truly great players, right? Like, Jamal Adams was our first all-pro guy in a long time. The problem is that, yes, he was an all-pro, and yes, Jamal Adams is a very, very good player, right? And he's passionate, and he, plays 100%, plays fast, all this stuff. He's a good player. His impact on the game is minimal, man. It really is. It really is. It doesn't have the same impact as you would think a two-time all-pro is adding to the team. So when Joe Douglas was able to get those two picks, the gripe was we just lost the first legitimate all-star player that we've had. Finally, we hit on a top 10 pick. You get rid of him, and we can't see the benefit for years down the road. So we're looking at next year's first, 2 years later a first, then those guys got to take a year or two to get ready. And then, so now we're looking at 3-4 years later before we finally see the benefit of the Jamal Adams trade. Well, we're here. Can anybody argue? I mean, look, AVT is a little bit unnerving because he has been injured both years, right? So let's just make sure that we're paying attention to that. But AVT and Garrett Wilson, which is what it really boiled down to, can anybody deny that those guys don't have significantly more of an impact on the game than Jamal Adams? And he's been hurt, so there's that. You can't knock Jamal for that, but he's been hurt 2 years in a row. So I agree with you. I think I remember it, man. People were fucking, dude. I was very excited. I was in the earlier stages of my coaster trip, right? My 2-year road trip with my wife and kids. I was in the earlier portions of that. I was driving in the car. I believe I was in like Western Pennsylvania or Ohio. I was like heading that way. And I remember we got the doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo. And I said, what is that? My wife, I said, hey, what's going on with the NFL? And I said, I see something Jets. And she goes, the Jets traded Jamal Adams for a third. I went, what? For a third? Oh, my God. Wow. And she goes, no, wait. Then she opened it. She goes, I'm sorry. I like God. She goes, The Jets traded Jamal Adams to the Seahawks for 2 first-round picks and a third-round pick plus safety Bradley McDougall. The Jets gave up Jamal Adams and a fourth. Dude, instantly, my son was in the backseat. You guys know Teen Bean. He's a diehard Jets fan. We lost our marbles with excitement. I was so excited because, again, I liked Jamal Adams as much as the next guy. But I just knew, like we need to do something big here. And he's kind of an asshole. And then there was, at that point, he was making all the noise with the Minishmeda stuff. But, man, when that happened, I remember listening to a lot of, I was on Jetnation all the time and listening to other shows. It was like people were furious. And I get it. I do. But I wasn't there. I was very happy that we had the balls to actually make the move. I was excited that we had a general manager that showed gumption. And look, he already did the Mekhi Becton thing. That showed gumption. Like, he had balls. I like that. But anyway, that was tough. 7 levels. There you are. Tigo's in the house. What's up, Tigo's? Also, GreenBean, we aren't going to go get a big beefy run stuff in DT. It isn't what this team looks for in defensive tackles. Yeah, well, I actually disagree. I think that this team, it's been a we're early in this team, Tigo. We don't really I don't think we have a true finger on it. Like, we can look at what Salah has done, right? That's a pretty good start to look at things. But one of the issues we had this past year was our ability to stop the run initially on the line, right? So I think that they will now. Are they going to use a top first or second round pick like a Siaki Ika? Like I said, that's where I think I would lean toward what you're saying. But I think we're absolutely bringing in a big 330 pound tackle in here. That's what I think. I think they're going to want a guy that they can bring in to eat space. That's why they kept Nathan Shepard. He was, quote, the run stuffer, and he's really not all that effective. He's had his moments. He's had his good games, but I think they let Nathan Shepard walk and they bring in a guy in the mids, third, fourth, fifth. That's a space eater. That's what I think. I'd be surprised if they didn't. While I understand what you mean, I just I disagree a little bit. I think we're still trying to put our finger on what this team really is, let's see what else we got here. Clemens, tidy twist. Clemens, JFM, Quinnen, and Jermaine. That'd be good. And then Bryce Huff as the situational guy. The thing is, I think we have, Bryce Huff. I really think he's a good football player, man. Like, he is dynamic. He is really just a right punch to the jaw. He really is. But is he only a situational pass rusher? Does he want to kind of be looked at and be, to have a team that will consider expanding his role so he can play more, number one, right? More well-rounded guy and garner more money, get more of a reputation, become a bigger star, I think that he probably wants that. But let's say he already knows. This is what I do. I'm going to do it very well. I don't really want to be in there on running downs. I don't need to. I just want to be this. Well, that would be something else. That would be different, But I would like to see, I really would like to see the Jets keep Bryce Huff. And I don't know how we're going to be able to do that if he wants to get paid like a full-time edge rusher. You know what I mean? Like a full-time player. What a great snatch that was, huh? What a great grab Bryce Huff out of Memphis in Joe Douglas's initial undrafted free agent class. That was a good one. Speaking of road trip, you up for a caravan to Canton? Well, yeah, I'm working on something, RJ McPot. I was just talking to Ryan about it. Sad to say, my contact at the Hall of Fame is no longer there. That's really unfortunate, guys. Really unfortunate because she was amazing. Amazing. Took such great care of me when we were there. And I mean, this is our year. I got to get on this, though. I mean, we want to go see the game, right? We definitely want to get a bunch of Jets fans, go see that initial game, show the world that Jets fans are, when we're in the spotlight, we take over a joint, right? So what is it? Jets, Browns, dude, we got to, I mean, well, it's kind of a home game for the Browns, right? They're right up the street. But we got to show them that we can get 50% of that stadium filled with green jerseys. But in addition to that, man, this is really the greatest moment in Jets Hall of Fame history. I mean, it really is. Like, obviously, we've gotten Namath and Maynard in there. We got Kevin Mawai. He's a Jet. I mean, the team that he played with the longest was the Jets. All right. But he's also a Tennessee Titan. He's also a Seattle Seahawk. So even though he's ours, he's still, he's whatever. But then we got Curtis Martin. So he's a Patriot for 3 years and then a Jet for the rest. So he's a Jet. He's legitimately a Jet. He's not like Alan Faneca, who was on the Jets 1 year, or 2 years. That's a little different. And then we got, who is the other guy? Let me see here. Hold on. Hold on. I'm spacing out on his name, man. Oh, Winston Hill. That's what it is. Good. I didn't even see it. I didn't get to it yet. I did that off my brain, everybody. Winston Hill. And then we got Curtis, we got Winston Hill, but he had passed away already, sad to say. But this is our year. Now, and then to add to it, we just so happen to win offensive, defensive rookie of the year at the same time. And we're playing the game at the Hall of Fame. Like, guys, this is huge for us. Joe Klecko, who's a Jet. I mean, yes, he went what was it? The Cardinals or something for the last year or something. He was injured and just kind of played for them. And obviously you got Revis. We traded Revis to the Bucks. He played there for a year. He went to the Patriots and played there for a year, won a ring with those assholes up there. But other than that, he's a Jet. Revis is a Jet. He associates himself as a Jet. He's a Jet. So we get Klecko, who's definitely a Jet, and Revis, who's definitely a Jet, going in the Hall of Fame on the same year that the Jets are playing the Hall of Fame game. And this is it. If you were ever going to go to Canton, this is the year, guys. Like, we got to make some noise. I got to get in there. I have to figure this out. Just sucks, man. The lady, I forget how I kind of worked some angles and we figured it out, and I got a really great contact in there. And I think she just moved on to bigger, better things, whatever. But it's so sad. But yes, RJ McPot, I want to do it. Michael Murphy's girlfriend is telling him it's time to go to bed. Well, Michael Murphy's girlfriend, let me just say this to you. You're right. Michael should get the hell in bed. What's he doing up talking with us online? What is this? Hey, man, you got to know where your priorities are, Michael. The girlfriend, unless she's a mean to you or something like that, of course. But hey, it's not the worst thing in the world to have a nice, soft woman saying, come in bed. Even if it's not for frolicking, it's the worst things in the world, right? Than having some woman or a guy for that matter, whatever you're interested, but having somebody that wants you to come to bed with them. Not the worst thing in the world. You get him, Michael Murphy's girlfriend. Get him in here. Get him in there. Rob B says you can't rely on JJ and edge guys to stop the run. Need run stuffer for early. That's where I am. That's what I think. I think they tried it this year. And to Tigo's point, I think up to this point, that's what they've done. So there's reason to think that that's their style. The same thing with the linebackers. Like, look, we've seen Rob Saleh, kind of encourage Mosley to lose a few pounds, and he did. And then we see them taking safeties and making them linebackers, and Quan Alexander's on the lighter side. Quincy Williams is a little bit bigger, but let me see. Quincy Williams. Yeah, he's still right. That's what I thought. So he's 240. And not monstrous or anything, but he's a little bit on the bigger side. But they like those quick, skinny linebackers, but that doesn't mean that they won't go get a 248, 252, something like that if it serves, But I do think, again, we put Rankins, we put Shepard like in there on rundowns. I think this is the year that they beef it up. I think they see that they need it. That's what I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, shit. Last year, I thought 100% that they were grabbing a linebacker. I thought it could be in the first round. I thought our first round was going to be, well, I didn't think it was going to be, but I thought it could be, Kayvon Thibodeau and Devin Lloyd. And then you get your wide receiver, George Pickens, or Jahan Dotson, who I thought would be there in the second round. That's what I thought. That could very realistically could happen. Then there was my real dream scenario. Aiden Hutchinson slips. We grab him with 4, and then we get Kyle Hamilton at 10. You know what I mean? So there was all kinds of scenarios. But I thought that, okay, we didn't take a linebacker in the first. Okay, fine. I thought it was a long shot, but I thought it could happen. And then when we were in the second round and the Jets traded up, while I loved the Breece Hall pick, and we talked about it for a couple weeks going in, I thought it was unlikely. And then once we traded up, there's no way that we're trading up and taking a running back in the second round. I just didn't see it. I thought it was highly unlikely. And the reason why is because I thought that Nakobe Dean was the pick. I was convinced. You guys know. I was convinced. Here. Again, I thought it was very positive. I loved the pick, but I was blown away that it happened this way. So here you go. Here.
With the 36th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select Breece Hall, running back.
Holy shit! No way! Oh, man! Oh my God! Wow!
See that? So what was I doing there? You see it. Where is it? Come on. I'm yelling, of course. I'm saying bad words. But what was I really doing? I'm clapping.
2022 NFL Draft. The New York Jets select Breece Hall,
look, I'm clapping.
running back.
Holy shit! No way! Oh, man!
So I couldn't believe that it was real. I loved it, but I thought the line. And then, okay, we didn't take a linebacker in the first or second. When we got to the third, we took Jeremy Ruckert. Loved Jeremy Ruckert, but I was like, there were numerous linebackers. I think Leo Chanel was still there. There was, maybe not, but I think so. There were numerous guys I thought we were going to take. Then when we got to the fourth, loved Max Mitchell. But I'm like, okay, our last pick has to be a linebacker, right? It has to be. Took Michael Clemens. You know what I mean? That's crazy. So again, it's hard. I think it's hard to put a real finger on the actual tendencies of this regime just yet. Because look, obviously the first year we were drafting for Adam Gase, and Adam Gase was an equal GM status to Joe Douglas. So that is what it is. But we've only had 2 drafts where Joe Douglas is the unquestioned boss. And look what he's done. Like in the first, in the first year, he takes a quarterback, obviously. And then he trades up in the first round using his 2/3 to get a lineman, best lineman in the class in their eyes, right? So they do that instead of waiting and taking Creed Humphrey. They go up for AVT. And then, he's moving all over the place. But, and he did some trading, like he traded back in the 4th. He did all kinds of stuff in that draft. In the first draft, he traded back in the 2nd round. He traded even 3 trades in this first draft. He had 3 trades, man. He traded for a cornerback. He fucking traded. He was all over the place. But it was more the first 2 years. There was a lot of trading back, and except for the AVT trade. And then this year, all of a sudden, what does he do? He comes in. He stands at 4 and 10, takes his players. Then he trades back into the first. Then he trades up in the second, basically ending his draft in the 4th round. No 5th, no 6th, no 7th. So we saw a shift to like aggressive moving forward to go quality over quantity. And it's like, again, like, if you would have just looked at the first 2 drafts, you think, okay, well, we're going to take those 4ths or those 2nds. We're going to back up a little bit, gain some more picks. You could totally believe that that's what was more likely. And it's not what we saw. I think Joe Douglas is a GM that, like I said, is a little bit difficult to put your finger on just yet. But the coolest thing, guys, I think that this is, if I could pretend to put a finger on him, I think that it's going to be something where he's the type of GM that it's not going to be tendency based. It's going to be situational. And that is the best case scenario, guys. A general manager that doesn't just always do the same thing. He looks at the situation in front of him, looks at his team, and what's warranted this year was not warranted last year or isn't warranted the next year. You see what I mean? Like this year, trading up makes a ton of sense. We needed this guy to put it into the way our lineup was. Next year, completely different. He's going to do it opposite because that's what's warranted. Weaker class, less deeper than top heavy, those types of things. And that's, I think, best case scenario. It's like, I understand, when like, a lot of fans are like, well, look at his wins. He hasn't had a winning season yet. He sucks. Yeah. Okay. I see it. But when you really look at what's going on here and just kind of, include everything, you see a guy that's getting better as he goes on, as he moves forward. I mean, we just had pretty much the greatest draft in Jets history. You have 2006 with DeBrickashaw Ferguson and Nick Mangold, right? Let's take a look at it. All right, we're going to do this again. I know I do it all the time with you guys. I love looking at drafts, baby. Let's just take a look. So we got the 2006 draft, which is very top heavy for us. But then the 2007 draft is another one. All right, so look, here we go. All right. So the Jets took at pick 4. So 1, 2, 3. You got Mario Williams, Reggie Bush, Vince Young. Remember him? Wow. DeBrickashaw Ferguson. We stay at 4 and we take DeBrickashaw Ferguson. Then we go down here. All right. 29. And we grab Nick Mangold. I believe this is the pick that we got for John Abraham. So the only thing that makes John Abraham trade okay is that we got Nick Mangold for it. And he was like the epitome, just one of our greatest players ever. But so that's a fantastic first round. So then we go into the second round. Wait a minute. Yeah, Nick Mangold. Go into the second. What do we got here? I don't remember. All right, so we get that's right, Kellen Clemens, which was a very good pick at the time. Okay, out of Oregon, very good pick. Lineman, and then quarterback. It was such a strong start. Now, he didn't end up being too much. He was our backup for, 6 years, maybe 5-6 years. So that's success to a degree. Let's see. So then, look, this is where it starts to peter off. Anthony Schlegel. All right, you can't not much to talk about there. Jets, Eric Smith. Okay, he was very solid. He was a starter for us for numerous years. He's really most famous. Remember this guy? You know what he's most famous for? The hit on Anquan Boldin. Remember? That now would have been a huge penalty and fines and everything else. He knocked Anquan Boldin completely out. Knocked him out. But he was a good player. Not great. Lots of Jets fans hated him. And a lot of us wanted to upgrade. But he was a solid player. Now look at this. Then in the 4th round, we grabbed Brad Smith. Now we know about him. He was great. He was never a starting quarterback, right? We know that. But he was our wildcat quarterback. He was our kick returner. And he was incredibly effective in both roles. The Rex Ryan, Mike Tannenbaum regime, we just never even made an attempt to re-sign him in free agency, and he went to the Bills. Sucked. But he was great for us. Then we got Leon Washington. So look at this draft, guys. This is sick, right? So we got DeBrick, got Mangold, you got Eric Smith, Leon Washington, Brad Smith. Like this is slam dunk, man. This is unbelievable. Then we got Jason Posiask. I don't even remember him. I really don't. He played for the Jets, Patriots, Bucks, Colts, Panthers, Seahawks, and Cowboys. So, he made his rounds. It sounds like he had somewhat of a career, but clearly he didn't stick anywhere. So that says something. And he wasn't with us very long. Let's see here. Okay. Then we got Drew Coleman. Dude, he's another one. This is the best draft ever for us. This is a slam dunk draft. And it's Eric Mangini's first. We hired Eric Mangini. He sits down with Tannenbaum and they put this together. Drew Coleman, starting cornerback for us for years. Right? He was a backup for us, but he did end. I think he started for 2 years. Or maybe it was one. And I might be thinking of Marcus Coleman too, though. But Drew Coleman was a good player. He was on our team for a while. He was part of the 2009 to 2010 teams. And whatever. He was alongside of Marquise Cole. So he was a depth. He was the Brandon Eccles of the day. Let's see here. Any more Jets coming around the mountain when they come? Titus Adams, not much there. Let's see here. All right, so that's it. So, dudes, what a draft class, huh? Now, that's something. That is something to write home about, everybody. Let's look at 2007. Okay? Let me see something. 2007's another one. So, Mangini, it's really a shame that his last draft, his big pick was Vernon Golston because, man, was he. I mean, dude, this is the guy that built the teams that Rex Ryan rode. You know what I mean? Rex Ryan was just a better coach. So, got way more out of them. So, okay, what do we do here? You guys know what's coming, right? Look at this one. Darrelle Revis. So now we traded up to get Darrelle Revis. We used a second-round pick to trade up and get Darrelle Revis. Not a bad pick, right? Pretty good. Pretty solid. Then what do? We got David Harris in the second. So this is pretty good. We're doing all right here, right? You got David Harris, another Jets great. Interestingly, though, look, he never made it to a Pro Bowl, nothing. Doesn't mean anything because Jets are routinely overlooked, but still. See what else we got here. Oh my gosh. Okay. Right. This is when we started. Like the Tannenbaum was like, he was always trading our picks away for players and everything. So, especially like the next year or 2 years later, 2009, the whole draft class was Sanchez, Sean Green, and what's his name? The offense, Slauson. There's a whole class. Jets, Jacob Bender, offensive tackle. I don't remember if I think he was on our team for a little bit. Nick Folk, look at that. We could have just taken Nick Folk, but no. So this one is this is just Revis and David Harris. So very, very strong up top. We have Chancey Stuckey. Now, Chancey Stuckey was a very good wide receiver for us. We ended up trading him to the Cleveland Browns in the Braylon Edwards trade. So we got Bray with Chancey Stuckey and a little bit extra. I think we gave a third or something too. So, all right. So that draft is really Darrelle Revis, David Harris, and Chancey Stuckey. That's really, well, and there was someone else in there. I forget. But anyway, 2006 was the best until this year. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but I'll tell you what didn't happen in 2006. Neither one of those guys won Offensive Rookie of the Year. Now, they're linemen, so it's a little bit more difficult. So this draft class, Sauce Gardner, Garrett Wilson, Breece Hall, right? Whatever happens with Rucker, we got nothing but faith and hope for that guy. I mean, most of us love him, right? Think very highly. Think he's going to be a legit starter for us. Legit. Jeremy Rucker. Who else was? So Breece, third. Yeah, Rucker. So then you got Max Mitchell and Michael Clemens. It's a great draft. Potentially. We don't know what's going to happen with Max Mitchell. We hope Clemens continues to just build on his very strong rookie season. Oh, yeah. Then we got Jermaine Johnson. Don't forget about him. That's crazy. It's a very, very strong draft class. Sauce, Garrett, Jermaine Johnson, Breece Hall, Jeremy Ruckert, Max Mitchell, Michael Clemens. Very, very strong. So that's the thing. When you look at it, and then don't forget Bam Knight, part of this class. So when you look at it, guys, like this is the whole thing, and this goes with coaching, it goes with players, and it should certainly go with the general manager as well. You pay attention to how they're developing. How are they getting better or worse? Are they doing a Mike McCagnon coming in first year, winning executive of the year? And then, like, literally nothing. Look, let's do this. Let's look at the 2015 draft. He won executive of the year for this draft. I'll share the screen. So he won executive of the year with this draft. Okay. Now, he really won it because John Idzik spent 2 years cleaning up the contract albatross that Mike Tannenbaum created. And so he left McCagnon with $70 million in 2015. So he signed Revis, he signed Gilchrist, he signed Buster Screen, he got Cromartie back. He got Bruno Giacomini, I think, was that year as well. So, he just really went out there, spent all this money, and just bolstered the team in the biggest way possible. Then goes into the draft, and at the time, Leonard Williams was considered the consensus best player in the draft. All right? So, the fact that he slipped here, the Redskins were supposed to take him. If we did, the thought was we would take Brandon Scherf, but who knows? But so anyway, he gets Leo Williams. Now let's see what else he does. Landon Collins. So then we get down. Remember Devin Smith? I didn't love the pick. You know, the truth is, while my guy didn't work, I wanted Dorial Green-Beckham, this guy right here. I thought we should have taken him or Jalen Strong maybe as well. Jordan Phillips. Nah. Anyway, there was a few guys I wanted. I didn't love the Devin Smith pick, but I did love the position. Okay. Devin Smith, remember his first training camp, his rib pierced his lung, right? Remember that? Crazy. He never really got out of his own way with injuries, sad to say. But let's see what else we did. I love looking at drafts. I just love it. I love looking at these guys. There's Frank Clark, right? Okay. New York Jets. Come on, where are these Jets? Lorenzo Malden. Remember him? What a great story. He was raising his little brothers and stuff all by himself. And he ended up, he had a couple minutes. He had a couple decent games, but generally speaking, he was a big flop. Never amounted to what we hoped at all. I mean, he was just a big flop. Looked good initially, had a couple good games early, but then it was really just did nothing. Let's see what else we got here. Bryce Petty. Don't forget, McCagnon traded up for Bryce Petty. Forget maybe just a couple spots. We could have just grabbed Jamison Crowder and called that a day, but no. Or Darrell Williams. Well, Darrell Williams was gone. Okay. But we traded up a couple picks for Bryce Petty. I think we gave up a seventh, maybe. Does it say? From Jacksonville, round 4. You see. Jacksonville traded this selection to the Jets in exchange for the New York Jets' 4th and 7th art. So we gave them our 7th to move up. What was that? Pick 103. Yeah, to move up one spot. McCagnon loved to do that shit. He's done that numerous times. Used a 7th round pick to move up one spot. It's like, it's busy work. It's like making yourself look like you're doing something. There's no reason to trade up one spot. He makes it all the way here. You think somebody's going to jump you to take Bryce Petty? Anyway, he did it with Chuma Edoga too. So anyway, so we take Bryce Petty. Okay, great. He had, we had a lot of hope for Bryce Petty. He was a decent pick. Here's Quan. Look at all these guys. I love it. I just love looking at this shit, man. Okay, where's I don't want to get caught up here. Let me look at the Jarvis Harrison, a big nothing. New Jets. Okay. So, okay, you seeing it? So what is this draft? It's Leo. That's it. And Bryce Petty. I mean, Bryce Petty started for us for a little bit, so you could say that. But he didn't look very good. Deion Simon. Nothing doing there. I forget. Something happened with Deion Simon. I forget what it is. I played. Yeah, I don't. Something happened with him. I forget. Something though. Maybe one of you guys can tell me. Trent Brown all the way in the 7th. Look at that. Oh my God. And we're taking Deion Simon. This is the thing, guys. This is a 7th round. You play this right. Like we had regimes, McCagnon, even Tannenbaum. But like the Rex years, dude, they looked at 6th and 7th round picks as garbage, throwaways. Fuck around, dude. Grab Taj Boyd, my friend, my son's friends with him. Let's make him feel good. They knew he was off the team at the end of training camp. Like, and then there are teams like the Niners who are still working it. They're still out there trying to add talent. They find Trent Brown. This year their 7th round pick is Brock Purdy, right? So you can see the distinct differences in teams. We're throwing 6th and 7th round picks away like they're garbage. And then you got other teams like Joe Douglas is finding Brandon Eccles, Michael Carter II. And then he's still in undrafted free agency. He's bringing in Bryce Huff and Bam Knight and Lamar Jackson, who was taken by the Bears, and all these other. So it's a different mentality, So there it is. It's a whole different thing, dude. We've had a really bad. I mean, look, we've been fans the whole time, and we're here the whole time, and we're rooting the whole time, and we're hoping the whole time, and all those things. But when you look at it, guys, we didn't stand a friggin' chance. And that's why, remember when, you would hear all these pundits or these talking heads, and they go, the Jets, you can't even take them seriously. And we're all pissed off. We're like, screw you, man. Deion Simon's going to show the world. But people in the know, they're looking at us, and they're saying, there's no comparison between what the Jets are doing and the Niners are doing. The Niners are finding Trent Brown in the 7th. The Jets are trading up for Bryce Petty in the 4th. You see it? So, when you just remove fandom and you look at this objectively, most of the time, the Jets, their off seasons are a joke. Now, we make waves every year. You know what I mean? We have a high draft pick, so we get a guy who everybody's talking about, Leo Williams, Jamal Adams, and the like. So we always make a little noise in the draft, and we always throw a lot of money around, and we go get guys with bigger names. We bring them in here at the end of their careers to suck for a lot of money. Or we go and we overpay, C.J. Mosley, Avery Williamson, Anthony Barr, and then Anthony Barr gives it back. He doesn't want to come. But that's the thing. But when you take a step back and you look at all the things we've been hearing over the years, when we look at it now with hindsight, you can see it. And this is the thing, guys like myself and so many others, on Jetnation and everything, dude, we were looking at our drafts back then, 15 years ago, 10 years ago, going, what the fuck are they doing? I've said this 1,000 times. I firmly believe that if somebody like me, and I'm not even that good, dude, especially back then, I could have absolutely done a better job acquiring talent for this team. No doubt in my mind. None. Zero. Right, Mikey Mouse? Any one of us could have done that. Paris says, no wonder Adam Gase got Mike McCagnon fired after experiencing one horrible draft. At least we got Quinnen Williams. The interesting thing with that, Paris, is that he did it. He left the draft after McCagnon picked Quinnen Williams. So interestingly, it's the one pick that McCagnon made that really is redeemable. It's quality. The problem is it made no sense for the team that we had. Very little sense anyway. I mean, he was, again, considered by many to be the best player in the entire draft. So Mike McCagnon was always interested in that. Mike McCagnon read the papers. And he always kind of grabbed the guy that everybody said was good. He was always going to take that guy. That's who he was. So, when you look at Adam Gase, obviously the way he handled it like a petulant child, stomping his feet and leaving the draft after the first round, didn't even stay in the war room with his team for the whole weekend, just left. And that's bullshit. You got these kids that we draft and you do the phone call, call the kids. Instead, we had Greg Williams making phone calls. You know what I mean? It's so the way he handled it was complete ridiculousness. At the same time, from the other angle, look at what he was looking at. Mike McCagnon is ridiculously, he's just way off base. Doesn't know what he's doing. Mike McCagnon, I think Now, I'm going off memory here. That last draft was so bad. And believe me, I defended Mike Maccagnan because I thought Todd Bowles was the bigger problem. I thought that Maccagnan was trying to get Bowles as guys. I was wrong. I thought, okay, this is the first year Mike Maccagnan's got the handcuffs off. Let's see what he does. He's going to have a great draft. It was the worst. I couldn't believe what I was watching. But I think in the fourth round, he traded back 2 or 3 times in the same round. And all he gained out of it was like 15 spots in the 5th. That's all he really gained. He moved back twice, let's say, and he just gained so why are you moving back in the 4th to gain spots in the 5th? Do you see it? Fuck is that? So then he comes away with Trayvon Wesco when all we needed was a center. We needed a center like nobody's business. I believe Connor McGovern, the one that's on Dallas, was still there. I was fucking screaming at the TV, dude. Ronald Perry, sure. That's the absolute truth. I don't doubt it for a second, man. Any one of us. Toilet bowls, I know. Isn't it a funny thing with Todd Bowles? Isn't it? He gets kind of a pass for the Jets. And the Jets made a big mistake. We were the organization was the problem, not him. Now, to be fair, the organization was the problem. Remember, we hired Bowles before we hired the GM, so they were never they didn't have any chance. It wasn't that they hired the GM, they have some meetings and they do a search and nope, none of that. We hired the coach, then we hired the GM. So that's where it started. It was all ridiculous. But when you look at Todd Bowles in particular, in addition to his just, terrible clock management, all those kinds of on the field things that were just not very good. But he never had a problem with Casey Rogers. His defenses were subpar at best. There were times where he had to take over play calling on the defense and run the defense because Casey Rogers was so piss poor. But at the same time, he's firing or removing whatever offensive coordinators. Now, in his defense, Chan Gailey retired after 2 years, but that's the thing. He talked him out. Chan Gailey was retired when we hired him. So the first guy Todd Bowles brings in is Chan Gailey. He's retired, so he talks knowing full well he's not going to make it very long, so he leaves in 2 years. Then he brings on John Morton. He does a pretty good job. He fucking fires him and bumps up Jeremy Bates, who was retired, living in the woods, remember? So he has 3 offensive coordinators in 4 years. Then he goes down to Tampa, and again, he's saying, he got a pass. It was the Jets. It wasn't him. He's great. Bruce Arians gives him a Super Bowl team with fantastic coaching, fantastic talent on the roster. He takes that team that went to the Super Bowl and into the playoffs the year before, deeper. I think they made it to what? The divisional round? They still got Tom Brady. And he looks like the team looks completely different. They're inept on so many levels. They slide into the playoffs, sneak in, and they lose. And then what does he do? He fires the offensive coordinator again and the whole staff. Let me see. Tampa. I want to just make sure. Is Casey Rogers the defensive coordinator again? Let me see. Let me see. Coaching staff, Tampa Bay. Let me see. So now he's got offensive coordinator Dave Canales. Harold Goodwin. Yep. Casey Rogers is the run coordinator now. defensive line coach. Okay, so at least he's not the defensive coordinator, but he's still there right next to his buddy Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles protects Casey Rogers like Bruce Arians protected Todd Bowles. And again, whatever it is, but it's just funny that in 6 years this will be his 6th year as a head coach. He's going to have 5 offensive coordinators in that time. Isn't that fun? It's just interesting. It's an interesting thing. Oh, man, that 2015 draft. I know, disinfo. Gase left to go on a bender. I know he just needed an excuse to go blow some lines. I'm out of here. Gase was such an embarrassment, man. Such an embarrassment. I don't know what Bruce Arians, I mean, I think he has some health concerns or something. He's clearly a very good coach. I mean, he's good, Bruce Arians. You know? He also had that really good mentality when he said, look, there's no limit to how many coaches I can hire. So what he did was he hired extra coaches that are designated to specifically work with the second and third teams. More coaches, like that's their gig. They work with the second stringers. So rather than the second and third just kind of getting the, whatever's left over from the offensive coordinator, defensive, from those coaches, and they only get time with like their position coach, he had more invested into the development of the next tier. I thought that was fantastic. His goal, I saw an interview, he said, I want to have the most coaches in the NFL. I said, I don't see any reason not to. Wasn't that like, I was like, that's smart, man. I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Wow, Fournette just got released. No, I don't know, man. Fournette, why does he keep getting released? He's very good. I haven't kept up. Is he injured? I mean, what's the story with him? I haven't kept up with him. I don't know. All right, guys. Well, I think that's going to do it. I love you guys. You got 3 great backs. K. Yeti. Ronald Perry, 2006 was all that. I just showed you guys. 2006 was the best draft ever, dude. I mean, it's incredible. I don't know how you could say that, my good friend Ronald. I just showed you guys. That was a stellar draft class, right? Wild Wave knows. Wild Wave knows. Oh, Paris goes deep. He says, don't forget 1977. Klecko, Dan Alexander, Marvin Powell, and Wesley. Yeah, it's a big one. See, I don't have any real conception of that, That's a good one, man. And Klecko was a 6th, right? 6th round pick, man. Yeah, I love this Wild Wave. Joe Douglas has a couple good quotes, right? A luxury today can be a necessity tomorrow. How about this one? Speed creates pressure, and pressure bursts pipes. How about this one? I could give 2 shits. Remember that one? They said, well, you traded Sam Darnold. He was like, I love Sam. I think the world of him. He's a great man and all that. And they said, yeah, but if he goes down to Carolina and succeeds, it's going to make you look bad. He said, I could give 2 shits. I'm not worried about myself looking bad to root for a good person. Remember that? Remember that? Everybody? All right. Okay, guys. Well, listen, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to go gorge. I'm going to do my late night gorging. I don't know what's in there. I'll probably have some sort of Fig Newtons or cookies or some weird stuff that I shouldn't be eating. Maybe some potato chips. Maybe some chicken salad. I don't know. We'll go see what's up with that. go do a little late night snackaroon. But I will tell you, Phil, I will tell you that I enjoyed this with you guys. Pretty soon we're going to add phone calls. Okay, I got a phone number specifically for the live streams. So we're gonna add some phone calls and stuff. And then if it's funny, man. I want to do the video thing, but every time I do it, somebody comes on with their pecker out. Remember, every time. I actually texted Jake one time, Assman. Said, dude, what are you doing to kind of screen? And you don't get it. He goes, I don't know, never. I don't screen anything. I'm like, what? Every time I've ever done it with the video thing, I get somebody on there, shows porn. Remember? There was that one night, it was like 5 in a row. They bombard me, man. All right, guys. With that all said, I hope you guys all have a great night. Don't forget, man, if you're looking to get into the deep breakdown stuff that we're doing with the beanbaggers, click the link, man. Come on in. This is the best time of year for us beanbaggers, man. We're doing it tomorrow night, 8 p.m. 8 p.m. with the beanbaggers. Tomorrow we're doing interior offensive line. Last week we did the tackles. Been an hour and 50 minutes on tackles. So you guys want in on that? Come on in. The link is in the description. And guys, as always, please hit the like button on your way out. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. It is greatly appreciated. And with that all said, I sincerely hope you have a great rest of the night, and I will see you probably tomorrow. See you, everybody. Thank you.
I think he's going to be day one, a violent vertical edge setter.
He's gonna be in today. I see some gas off the edge. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop, you're finished.